And we are back with the VAC 2024. First show of the new year. Yeah, wow, it's been a while, hasn't it?
It feels like forever.
It feels like forever. It does.
When was the last one we did? It was beginning of December.
Yeah, it's been almost 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah. Completely dark.
I have so many questions.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
What have you been doing?
What do you mean?
How is India?
Well, it was, people talk about culture shock and stuff. Yeah. People talk about it. And as an advanced age first-time traveller, that's what I'll call myself.
Yeah, a senior traveller.
Yeah. I've had that drilled into me for 20 years of just there's culture shock, there's culture shock, there's culture shock. And getting off the plane, we got off the plane. My brother, who was getting married, he'd been there for about 3 hours longer than us. And he got us all in a huddle and he was like, look, we're going to get in this car. You can look sideways if you want. You don't have to look forwards, but there's going to be beeping. There's going to be honking. It's going to be exciting, all right? But, yeah, by all means, if you don't want to look forward, don't look forward.
Strap yourself in.
So, I want to get in the front seat and look forward. You know, that's what I want. And the beeps just mean so many different things.
It's a language.
It can,
It's a language
it can
of
mean
love.
I'm coming through. It can mean you go. It can mean hey. It can mean whatever. And sometimes you will be legitimately confused as to think, like, what was that one for? Like, I sort of got that one and that one and that one, but what was that one?
Do we need more beeps to express ourselves better? It's hard to express yourself just with one honk, and all you can adjust for is length of the honk.
Yeah. Well, we recognise in Australia the difference between a short honk, the double honk, and the long honk. There's 3 real honks that we do. There's the, hey man, you might have just fallen asleep at the lights, double honk. Hey, just letting you know the light is green honk.
Yes. Double honk also when you're leaving someone's house and you're saying goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye.
Beep, beep.
Good. Yep, 2 for the syllables. Goodbye. And, the beep, beep. It's a classic.
Like, no one's communicating with Morse code with this thing. No one's doing long, short, long.
That's what it feels like in India. But the traffic flows amazingly well. No one's speeding because you really can't, because you would just hit the person in front of you. But there's heavy tailgating and no indicators. There's very rarely. People driving on the wrong side of the road. It is exciting.
Are there people piled up on cars? Is there a ute with 10 people in the back?
People are, I saw one where it was person on the front driving also got their phone out. Person in the middle on their phone. Person on the back also on their phone. So we got 3 people, 1 scooter. Everyone's on their phone somehow. And, I didn't see contact.
That's a classic, the telephone coma. Yeah.
I didn't see anything.
Did you, what about, because I've never been to India, but I've seen some stuff on TV, who knows how much of it is true. My picture of India is a train with just people hanging off the roof, like it just going through the station, just people all over the train. I'm sure that was just like a one-off.
I've definitely seen those scenes in Indian like documentaries and stuff. I've definitely seen that sort of stuff. Not where I was.
Yeah,
I was in sort of a smallish city, you'd call it, but it's comparable in population to our state. And we were very exotic there. Everyone wanted to take pictures and stop us in the street and chat to us and
you
stuff.
would have been very
like
exotic,
celebrity.
Yeah.
Whereas in places like New Delhi and stuff, they're much more they know that tourists are tourists, and it's not that weird to see a tourist in Delhi is the idea.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was happening quite a bit. And then I went to Japan and it was the complete opposite.
Yes.
I had like no celebrity status in Japan.
Yes. That gets a lot of travellers. Yes, I wasn't really familiar with where you were going in India, but that makes a lot of sense that you wouldn't get too many. It doesn't get the tourist dollar, I assume.
But it was so good.
Oh, I bet. Okay, and how did the wedding go?
The wedding was outstanding.
Yeah.
There was a lot of food. There was a lot of things you had to go to, like ceremonies and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, amazing. Everyone had a dance. Everyone had a jig.
Oh, I bet.
We set off some fireworks. It was wild.
So you just buy fireworks from like...
Well, it was like the wedding season. So at like 10 o'clock every night, there were fireworks going off somewhere in the neighborhood.
Yeah, okay.
Because everyone's around that time. There's a lot of weddings on. Because it's like a multiple day affair. It just sort of happens that maybe that night in particular, there were lots of fireworks, but no, it was amazing because we're just setting them off in what you'd call like a courtyard of these apartment complexes. We're just setting them off.
And everyone's cool with it?
Everyone's cool with it.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing I've just realised, because it's been a long time since we've done this, I haven't plugged into the internet. I haven't got a direct connection. I'm relying on my Wi-Fi.
Yeah, okay. We'll see how that goes. I'm sure that's fine.
Yeah, it should be fine. Might get a little bit, might be a little bit jittery occasionally, but so the wedding went off without a hitch.
The wedding went really well.
The fireworks were a success.
Yeah. And it was touch and go for a second, but very exciting.
Was it what you thought an Indian wedding would be like?
Yeah, but I was surprised a lot.
I bet you were surprised a lot. What'd you eat?
Just everything.
Everything. Was it vegetable curry or was it meat curry?
Well, yeah, but obviously certain meats are not happening.
Oh, yes.
But a lot of chicken curries and amazing curries, and you just eat everything because it's the best version of that you're ever going to eat in your whole life.
Were there papadoms, or is that a Western thing?
Yeah, it's some of the things there were. Yeah, absolutely. At some of the lunches and dinners there were. Yeah.
Yeah, and how'd your parents go as well?
They were great. They had
a great time.
Everyone had such a good time.
Very good. And did they stay on after that, or did they come home?
They went holidayed elsewhere.
So everyone else went on their own elsewhere? Is that where did the bride and groom go?
They went around India, so they kept going through India, north, south, west.
Yeah.
And yeah, they had a ball as well. It was pretty crazy.
And did anything go wrong in India? Because inevitably, there's friction traveling.
No, not really. Like when we got our accommodation, we had a housemate who has since been adopted into the family, and Savesh was staying with us for the whole sort of week that we were doing the wedding. And on the first night, you lay down on this bed and it's barely got a mattress on it. It's just like you're sleeping on concrete, right? And you think to yourself, oh boy, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and my back's going to be completely fucked. That's what you think night one.
Yeah.
Wake up, feel fantastic. Like felt amazing in that hard bed for some reason.
Yeah, good.
Second night, same experience. I was like, well, it's definitely going to be fucked now.
Can't have two in a row.
Well, definitely not. And then it was fine. And we were so close. We were a 5-minute walk to the family's house, like my sister-in-law's family, where we could go visit them. So we had the best accommodation in all of Nagpur in the end. Even though we thought it was terrible, it was actually awesome.
Yes. Relative to the other hotels and things. And maybe you need a harder bed. Maybe your bed's a bit too soft.
I was either working out how the reason why they invented yoga, meaning like we fucked our back, let's fix it.
Oh, yeah, all the hard beds. Yeah, okay.
Whether or not they were just all on top of everything. Like they figured out sleeping as well, the right way to do it. Hey, I sleep on this hard thing, you'll wake up feeling fantastic.
Their civilizations had a lot longer lead time than most. So you'd think they would have figured some things out.
Yeah.
Did people like do yoga like in the streets, like, or is it, I mean, did you witness any yoga?
Nah, so Nah, just a
I
lot
know
of
that would
people
be
chilling
weird.
out.
Yeah.
A lot of people chilling out. The traffic obviously is very different.
What
But
about what is their sort of litter policy? Because some places
a
the
lot of
conditions,
stuff goes on the ground. Yeah,
Mm.
a lot of stuff just ends up on the ground.
That is a shame. That's one of those things that I certainly don't judge people, because I would fit in with the society and the time and the place that I am a part of. If culturally there's some litter around, you're more likely to leave some litter. If your friends litter occasionally, you will litter occasionally. It's been beaten into me from a pretty young age. More so,
Sure.
yeah, like in my about like 9, 10, that kind of thing. Like I remember littering a little bit when I was younger, occasionally, just because some of my friends littered, and you think it's sort of, I don't know, you think you're pretty cool.
Surely you would have copped a detention at one point where you you had to pick up litter for your break, like recess or lunch.
Exactly.
You cop one of those. That's the one that'll drill it into you.
It just drills it in
of your lunchtime.
And now you find me walking around with a piece of rubbish in my hand all fucking day long looking for a bin. I won't drop it. I'll never drop it.
Yeah, that's what happens. You don't find bins anywhere. That was the same in Japan, because they're very heavily focused on recycling. So very rarely do you find a bin for binnable things. They just don't expect you to have anything.
General waste. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
They just don't expect you to have anything general waste. You got a coffee, like finish it. Come on, pop it in. Recycling.
Oh, man, for me, the jury's out with recycling a little bit. I think it might be a bit of a scam. Like, I love the idea. Like, recycling as an ideology is like the perfect. It's perfect. Like, you can't argue with it.
Yeah.
I question how much of the stuff I'm putting in the recycling is actually getting recycled, because I think it's just a scam to keep you consuming. You think you feel good, you consume something, you put it in the recycling. I actually want to know statistically,
made a net positive, or a net neutral.
A net neutral, you feel like, I can continue to buy this and continue to consume it without any guilt, because this piece of
Are you
plastic,
having guilt stuff though? Are you eating other guilt things?
I think a lot about general waste now, because the volume of general, now you've got, I don't know if you've got the same bin system as I have, the FOGO, right?
Yeah, sure.
You got
Is
general
it tiny
waste,
bin, big one for recycling?
Yeah, big one for recycling, a big one for green waste.
Yeah, but a tiny one for general waste.
Tiny one for general waste.
Yeah,
and that's still quite it's still quite a big. It's for 2 people living in my house. Pretty much fill it, or 3/4 or whatever, every 2 weeks it gets emptied, and it's still a large volume of waste. And most of it is plastics, plastic bags, things like that. Not plastic bags from the shops, but plastic bags that I use in the bins at home. And all that stuff is going to outlast me. And I'm just like one dude that's probably better than the average person in the world.
Already, like 2 weeks in, you think you're 5 plastic bags deep, and you'll never be able to pay them off.
Yeah, I just produce a huge volume of waste. But it's kind of like, you don't see, you don't think about it. You put it in the bin man comes, it gets collected. Who knows where it goes? And I think we used to export a lot of our recycling to poorer countries to deal with, because it's not cost effective to actually recycle it. I think we've banned that now.
Yep.
So I mean, when I say it's a scam, it's I love the idea of recycling. I just think that I think the way they advertise things as being recyclable is maybe not really that genuine.
You know how you can get like money back on your cans and stuff?
Yeah.
If you could just pop them in a chute and money comes out, everyone would do it.
Pop them in a chute and money comes out. But I mean, can't you go to the can store and
you have to go to the can place and turn them
in? My mum does. Luff. Hey, we've done Luffingham. We've done a minor facelift of our living room. Okay. And
you've mixed it up a bit.
We have. And we've got a huge problem now for the podcast, because I'm probably going to have to get a dog sitter or something for Luff.
Why?
Because the window that we used to have at the front of the house in the living room where I'm doing this, the blinds were stuck down, which was fantastic because Luff can't really see out. And I otherwise when they are up a little bit, you can only move them up about a foot because they're sort of stuck. The weight of them isn't held. They're just old blinds. and I put a yoga mat up to stop him looking out. Okay, and I haven't washed the windows in, this sounds gross, but like 10 years. And it may have been, I've only been here for 7 years, right? Or 5 years or something. So who knows when the last time these were washed?
Right.
I washed them.
It's a mystery.
So it's a mystery. We painted this room. We bought some IKEA furniture. We threw out a bunch of stuff. Sorry, your coffee table's gone, mate. That little black one that you had.
It's gone.
You gave me, it's gone. It's gone. So,
oh my God.
Actually, when I say it's gone, I'm lying because we've still got it. We are on Marketplace hunting for a coffee table. It is as good as gone, but it's still
What is it? What is it? Is it an old IKEA one, a square one?
Yeah, it's a square, rectangular one.
I didn't even know that still existed.
It used to be in your out the back of our place where you lived.
Got it.
Yeah. So that's still there. Virtually everything else being replaced. It's super clean looking. There's far less cables. Like I've had mates that have come over with their kids and they're like, bro, I don't even think I can let my kid like roam around in this room because there's so many dangers. You know where they've got like that parental danger eye?
Oh yeah. Yeah. They've checked it over.
They're like, this isn't fit for a child to live in. But anyway, long story short, I've cleaned these windows now and I've jacked the blinds all the way up and cable tied them. So they're pretty much out of the picture. So now Luff has this 2 meter long glass, it's silky smooth and see-through, and he can see everyone coming and going now.
I see what the problem could be. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do because now he's just sitting there having this great. He's got this great view of the neighborhood now.
Yeah,
he's loving
it. Yeah, he loves it.
Yeah, but it looks. I'll send you a photo. It looks very nice. But that's my story. So tell me more about Japan. Did you play pachinko?
No, I didn't even understand how that worked. A lot of the machines that I really wanted to play when I was over there, like the simulated horse racing one with the actual horses that are on physically in the middle of the table moving around.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I wanted to play that.
Yeah.
So I was like looking for language settings to change it to English. Nothing. All the gambling stuff is for serious people. And there's floors and floors of it in a lot of places.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And the sound, so you saw pachinko though, because you can hear it.
Yeah. There's just slot machines, even though gambling's like not, they don't have casinos there, but they have these pachinko places. And the idea is that you buy tokens and then you play with tokens. And I'm like, that's the same as a casino. You go in, you get chips, and then you play.
It's like if you could gamble at Time Zone.
It's sort of like that. So no pachinko, but I was scoping out a lot of arcade places and pinball places for the best sort of video gaming experience you can get there.
Oh, okay. And any success?
Look, I was pretty disappointed as to how many Daytona rigs that I found, and very disappointed in how crazy the high scores were. They were never going to get clipped.
Oh. No.
So I didn't find many Daytonas.
They take their I don't know what you call them, those standalone computer game type console, like social gaming in those facilities, they take quite seriously.
Yeah.
And I mean, Daytona, is that a 90s? Is that a 90s?
Yeah. That's an old game.
Yeah,
so
they've kind of moved on. They're very progressive.
Everywhere.
Japan's so progressive that Daytona's like, it's almost like ancient. They're going on to, I don't even know what they're playing. I just watch people play games there.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of musical games, a lot of drumming games, dancing games, DJ games.
It's like pseudo physical activity.
Yeah, well, it's like same with the Nintendo Wii when it first came out. People were playing tennis with it on it and thinking they were actually doing something like some active gaming here. So that was cool.
I find the VR sometimes a little bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A little bit. There's that. I did get that Beat Saber one, but there's also this one where you have to, like, laser beams get fired at you at your headset, and you I guess that's your when you're in when you're in VR, that's like your consciousness bubble, your head, right? And so if you move your head to the side, you can dodge like a laser beam. And then another one gets fired at you, dodge the other way. So you're doing these kind of like side squat things as you're dodging laser beams and you're firing back with your guns at the the
Yeah,
targets.
dodging, you're weaving, clipping and
You're
clopping.
bopping. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so you played some pinball though.
Yeah, there was a place in Tokyo which I found, just down the road from where I was staying, and that had a few cool pinball machines. And then they just had a couple that just took your money. Just said thanks for coming.
Where did you stay in Tokyo?
It was a place called Majiro, so that's like the suburb. You've got like cities on either side of you, in the sense that like if you walk 10 minutes in any direction, you're just going to hit massive city blocks out of nowhere.
Majiro. Okay, I'm trying to find
The
where it
hardest
is.
thing in Japan is walking for any period of time and just never being able to escape the city.
Oh, it's relentless, isn't it?
Mm.
We tried to go for a run when I was there. It's so hard.
You never get out of the city.
Well, I mean, it's a mega city. Okay, I see Majiro.
Tokyo is, yeah. Tokyo is.
Oh, okay, I see. So you're quite close to Shinjuku.
Yeah, you could walk there.
Yeah,
and
okay.
Shibuya.
And then Shibuya's, even lower. Okay, yep.
So I went there. I saw that, like one of the busiest intersections in the world. Had a cross, had a quick cross.
Yeah. Saw a few people there doing some time lapses.
Yeah, everyone's got their cameras out. Everyone's got their phones out.
I wonder how many photos you were in at that moment.
Yeah, maybe
that
5.
Crossing, you'd probably been at least.
Yeah, look, I don't know if it was a particularly busy time of the year around Christmas, but it was amazing. I did find this amazing pinball place in Osaka, which I frequented a bit. It was cool because they had a pinball place, and then down the road they had some cool shops where you buy cool stuff.
And you were pretty close to Dotonbori, weren't you?
Where's that?
I think it's like one of the... I saw you sent me a little map location at some point. Dotonbori is like a pretty popular, I guess a nightlife restaurant area.
Oh, yeah. If it's around where I was.
It has like, giant fucking crabs on I don't even know how to explain it. Like one shop front will have like a massive big face on the front of it. It almost looks like a circus, like another one's got this huge crab, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
All these plastic animals and whatnot. It's just the crazy Japanese, right? They culturally, they really push, they're very progressive and they push the envelope with all these things, fashion included. Yeah,
no, I loved Japan. Osaka was great in particular.
Oh, good. And with Tokyo, did you just turn up there? When did you book your common stuff? Because I think that was happening all quite late in the piece. You were focused on India.
Yeah, I was. And so I had not a lot of time to do it. But I booked the place and I stayed there I think I was there for just under a week. And on day 3, I just had a gutful that night with like living with people.
Oh, so you were
I was in like a hostel. So I booked like actual accommodation for Osaka. And then a couple of days later, it was Christmas and everyone was in a good mood. And the host comes around in this, like sexy Santa outfit, and he looked, adorable. And he had some drinks and pizza and stuff. And there was probably 5 or 6 people out playing Uno for a couple of hours. And that was your first real interaction with any of the other people.
Really?
So I met a few cool people on Christmas and then thought maybe I fucked this up. But I'd had a gutful at the same time.
And I mean, you've stayed in hostels before. Why was this one any different? Is it the language barrier or?
No, there was cool people there. It just took a while for me to meet them, but once I did, they were great. There were these, I want to say like Australians who were probably only there for one night, who rolled in super late, just being loud, kind of like they just came out of the movie together. If you just come out of a movie with your friends and you're like, oh my God, do you remember the bit where you went blah? And they go, yeah, that was sick. I remember the bit where he went blah. And he goes, yes. They were talking like that just in the dorm area, and there's like 14 people that live in the dorm area, and it's all pretty tight. So in that moment, I've just got my phone out and I'm just booking a place to stay.
Oh, really?
In Osaka.
That's pretty disappointing. I hate it when you have obnoxious Australians that you meet on your travels and you feel somewhat responsible
or ashamed. Yeah.
Ashamed.
No, they were just I just thought maybe they were going to be there for the whole time that I was going to be there. So I was like, look, it's going to be another 3 or 4 days of this no matter what. And then you don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But I didn't even hear them ever again.
Yeah, okay.
So that was really weird.
And you just were winging it when you were there, I assume, in terms of
a lot of it.
Yeah.
A lot of it was just you pick somewhere to go and you go there and you know that you'll find stuff along the way to do, see or eat.
Yeah.
And you just keep doing that. And some places you revisit. Like I went to the batting cages a couple of times to go and have a swing.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
They were great fun.
I forgot they're in baseball.
Yep. And so you play a lot of those. The pinball joint got hit up multiple times because I really wanted to get like a high score that, set a record and get out. That was always the plan.
Yeah. And you are the biggest creature of habit I've ever met in my life. So it does not surprise me that, you find something and you frequent it a couple of times because there's this familiarity with it and you know what you like. So you go play pinball and you're like, I like pinball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only that, but you can literally walk around like a Japanese pinball hall with no money and play for hours if you had no money, like $0. Because a lot of people don't understand replays, matches, and how free credits work. So
really?
At the end of every game, say your score is 1 million points and 30, then if it'll give you a 1 in 10 shot of getting a free game by matching that 30 with a 1 in 10 shot, it'll be, all right, here's the match. Oh, it's 40. You didn't win. See you later. Game over. And it'll say credit 0. But occasionally they'll get a match. I'll hear the match sound. It stands out.
Okay.
On most pinball machines, it sounds like you just broke the speakers. Like it's meant to freak you out to go, hey, don't leave. I just got a free credit that just came out of this thing, right? So the telltale signs of that sound and a flashing start button, because a flashing start button means a credit's in the chamber, it's ready to go.
So you're cruising around Tokyo pinball bars just picking up free games.
Well, that's what I realized the owners were doing, because there was this same character who was on all of the pinball machines, like as the highest score, the grand champion. This guy named MOI, which could be moi, meaning me, right?
Yeah.
Or it could be his sort of Japanese name, right?
Yeah, it could be some acronym or something.
There was a couple of names that
Isabel.
were everywhere around the room, but that was the main one. This guy named moi, MOI. And I saw him a couple of times playing on machines just at regular points during the day, and I'm like, it's all free credits. I reckon he's just walking around doing what I was doing for a second there, which was just walking around and being like, oh, a start button. Look around. Nah, nobody here. Nobody's claiming this. All right, I'll just pretend to put a coin in. So you pull out 100 yen, just pull it and just put it back in your pocket. And then you just press the start button and boom, you're on a free credit.
Away you go.
If you score like anywhere on a decent run at these machines, you're going to get a free credit from the replay. So people were getting replays, not realizing it, walking away.
Fools.
Yeah. But I probably got 20 free credits while I was there, which is, $20 worth. And I probably gave away that same amount to other people. Like if I had 3 credits in a machine, like The Simpsons, which I couldn't get off because it just kept giving out free games and I was getting replays, having a great time. But I had 3 credits and I was trying to end it. And I see 3 guys walking up and I go, hey, do you guys want to play? And then they sort of, no one speaks Japanese. No one speaks English in Japan. And I just pressed the start button 3 times. So it said 0, 0, 0 for like player 1, player 2, player 3. And I was like, no, everybody, you guys are playing, like, because I need to have a smoke or whatever, have a break.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that happened a lot. So I probably gave away 20 credits easily as well to just people walking by. I'd be like, I don't want to play this anymore. Here, take these.
So you weren't stealing. That's all right then. That's all right.
My karma was neutral on the stealing of people's credits.
Yeah.
And I did end up, just for the record, grand champion. I got the best score in Indiana Jones pinball
Did ya?
at that Osaka pinball place. So if you do go there, you'll see me up there. in
Oh,
the
so your
lights.
name has been indelibly inked at the top of the pops on that. Okay, how'd you do that? I mean, that
Well,
seems...
I scored 690 odd million, and the best score was 550 million before that.
Are you
So
a
I
bit of a
GC'd the table, and
GC'd? What's a grand champion?
yeah, and then I'm just gonna sort of chill bang now because I did it.
Wow. Yeah. So, you get royalties now, right? Every time someone puts in 100 yen, you get a yen, don't you?
No, it
When you
doesn't quite
GC.
work like that. No, it doesn't work like that. You get given 2 free credits at the end of the game. That's about it.
Hey, that's actually not such a bad idea, though, right? You incentivize people to be the GC because they get some kind of dividend income from
But then you just get that MOI guy taking my score, just staying up all night.
Yeah, true. So, are you an Indiana Jones pinball expert?
Yeah.
Is that
say
your...
so.
Yeah, okay.
That's my main.
Around
It's my
the world.
main.
Yeah.
It's definitely the one I've played the most.
You didn't find any pinball in India?
No, we weren't really doing anything pinball-y in India. It was very much wedding stuff, and you have to buy all the clothes and stuff, like the suits.
Oh, yeah. And you weren't worried about your lack of vaccinations in the end? Like, you're here.
I'm alive.
You didn't get sick on the trip?
No.
That's a good effort because it's not uncommon to just get a little bit of a tummy bug or something when you travel.
Yes. When you read the statistics, it actually is quite scary. They'll say 70% of first-time travelers will get sick in India.
Oh, really? In India? Okay. Yeah, 70%. That's a big number. And I would say that there's a decent percentage elsewhere as well. I didn't want to say that when you left the house to freak you out.
No, you read all that by yourself.
House once. Yeah, you came over my house once and just had an orange juice and got unwell.
Yeah, that happens too.
Yes, I didn't want to mention it, but I was hoping that you would have a pleasant experience. And I'm glad you did.
I did fine. There
and
was an
you survived. You survived. You're a survivor.
Well, yeah. Look, there was an earthquake. I want to say, I don't know, 120, 130 kilometers north of where I was.
That's not that far in earthquake terms. I don't
know. It could have been further. We got about a 3.5 on the Richter scale level earthquake.
And what was
Osaka,
the epicenter?
where I was? It would have been 7.5.
It's quite big, isn't it?
That is
quite big. Yeah.
And
I think they were saying like
it's in the ocean as well.
In the ocean, okay.
So it did cause a tsunami warning to be triggered for a lot of the Japanese north coast, which sort of slinks down like a sock.
Yes.
It's not a north coast. If you were talking about the very northern tip, it'd be a very small area, but it's quite a large area which they're considering in this zone. And it ended in Osaka on the yellow warning, walking distance from the hotel I was staying at. So, yeah, I was on the 13th floor, just like lazing around in my hotel bed, and it started shaking all over the place. And I just thought, okay, well, I better put some clothes on, put some shoes on, stronder downstairs. I guess that's where I should be, right? I didn't
Did you know that it was an earthquake, or did you just think the building?
The first couple of seconds of it, you're thinking, what's happening? Well, what is this?
Did it sound like a phone vibrating?
Where you are.
It was like,
no. No, it was way more dramatic than that. Yeah.
Okay, phone vibrate. Yeah. And I mean, did you contact the nuclear power plants in the area and just ask them to
So
switch
early
them off?
on in the news coverage, they were pretty quick to say that all of the nuclear power plants have reported that everything's going just fine down here.
They're scarred by the Fukushima situation.
There would have been extra things put into place after Fukushima for sure. Things to improve safety and for warning systems. Yeah. And I didn't get any warning system in the hotel. So I met this Mexican couple in the hallway of the elevator lobby on the 13th floor. And I think they were approaching the stairs. And I just called the elevators because my mind thought, well, if you call an elevator, it's not going to come if the
It's an
building's
emergency.
warning system was happening. Like it would go into some sort of mode where it's like, hey, you really don't want to take the elevator. So the elevator came and I took it down to the lobby level.
It's not exactly a smart elevator though either. Like I know what you're saying. I would have thought that it wouldn't be operating in an emergency situation, but it's not exactly. It doesn't really have a mind of its own.
There was
it's
no
kind of
alarms
like
going off.
Yeah.
So I felt pretty safe. Walked out front of the hotel and everyone's just chilling, coming to and from lunch. No one's like looking up into the sky for a massive tsunami, you know. You just feel like all the regular spots are open.
Yeah.
No one's been notified. You go back into your hotel room, all of the TV channels are showing either news reporting live on the tsunami warning or a movie which also has a tsunami warning imprinted on it.
Oh, okay.
So they're pretty savvy with their warning systems and the like. But I think tragically there were deaths associated with it. I think around 60 or something.
From the tsunami or from the earthquake?
Yeah, from the tsunami, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But there were places up north where the footage of the earthquake was quite wild. I'm talking splitting streets, rocking subway systems. But where I was in Osaka, everyone was relatively chilled out.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't see any sort of nothing.
Do you like sashimi?
I didn't. Nah.
Don't dabble? No. What'd you eat? Because you have a relatively narrow sort of...
Yeah, I found places that I really liked, and then I had days where I forced myself to do something different. And
you have
then
to
I
when
would
you're in Japan,
adopt them in. You do have to, and then I would adopt them into the regular sort of mix.
Yeah.
And so there were places I only went once, and there were places that I thought I wouldn't enjoy that I did, and yeah.
Any like, give me an idea of what you're eating, like.
So like I was still very like curry focused from my India trip. I wanted hot things, so I'd go out for like they were Japanese curries, but they were, you know, you'll get like fried chicken, sausage, and vegetables in like a vegetable curry, and it was outstanding. And you sort of pick the spice level as well, so that's what keeps you coming back to those sort of places. You'd be like, I think I could have done a little bit more, or definitely overdid it last time. You wouldn't do that like every day because it was closed some days. Japan has a big thing about KFC on Christmas Eve, so I couldn't get KFC on Christmas Eve because it was way too busy. But I did get it on the days around it.
Wait, KFC on Christmas Eve?
That's a big thing, yeah. So you walk in and they're like, hey, did you order a bucket? Because if you didn't, like, we're not serving you today. We're doing family buckets only. Kind of this is the law.
And you don't have to pre-order though, do you? You mean you can go in and they're only doing one thing because they're so busy? Is that?
Yeah, I think that's their big day.
Wow, their big day. Okay, because I mean I don't even know if KFC would be open here on Christmas.
On Christmas Eve, it definitely would be.
Oh, Christmas Eve, yes, it would. Yeah, okay. I have had McDonald's with a bottle of Moe one Christmas Eve. That was pretty fancy.
Outstanding. Yeah, that does sound pretty fancy. When did you crank out the Moe? When you got back or in the restaurant?
No, it was when we got back. It was takeaway. I can't remember why. I think we just thought we'd celebrate. We don't even like Moe. We don't really drink champagne.
No, but it's just the linkage of the two makes it quite sophisticated.
Yes.
Or it definitely brings it up a level.
Yeah, let's fancy up this McDonald's with a drink that we don't even enjoy drinking.
Yes.
Did you use Google Translate much? Were you? Yeah, that was my little tip.
I did. I was standing in a smoker's terrace and a guy didn't see me, and when he turned around and saw me, he looked visibly shocked and shaken. And I said in English, "I'm sorry for startling you," and I don't think he understood. So I wrote that into Google Translate and showed it to him, and he starts laughing. Then he brought his wife over and then told the story to her, and they both laughed. And then just sort of had to awkwardly stand there because that was the end of the conversation at that point. I used it a lot on shrines and stuff. I'll take a photo of that to get that translated. I found that quite helpful. You just take a photo of it. Yeah. Menus, it was really good.
Yeah, ideal for menus, isn't it?
Yeah. Going from India to Japan, that's the thing you feel the hardest is that 50% of the people you interact with in India will speak English. They might say that their English is bad, but it's actually totally fine. And the people whose English they say is not good in Japan, same thing applies. They're quite good. But that's the hardest thing, is that you could go 3 or 4 days without having a real conversation with anybody because you're just getting by speaking the 3 words of Japanese that you know, which is, goodbye.
Yeah, you pick up a couple of things, but...
And then you figure out there's a couple of words which are so easily moldable to mean many things that you can just use that a lot. So that's helpful.
Oh, yeah. What were you using?
I think domo.
Oh, yeah. I said, domo, yeah. Dozo as well means something. They seem to just like saying it a lot. I think it means like please or come or something like that. No, but dozo, hi dozo.
Yeah, I didn't pick up a lot. It was just getting by. I was solo traveling through Japan.
Did you
was
try
pretty wild.
My phrase, shishi desu ne?
I did not try that.
Oh, you didn't need to tell anyone that you're a wild boar?
Oh, thank God I didn't.
Oh, man, that's... And so are you going back anytime soon?
To Japan?
Yeah.
To India?
Either.
Yeah, definitely.
Are you glad you went?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I had my first moment of regret when I was in the shuttle bus from the city to the airport.
Yeah.
So,
wait. When
I was leaving Osaka to come back to Australia.
Yeah.
Had this first moment where I was like, no, fucked it. Where I'd cross certain bridges in Japan, and I'd go, wow, look in that tiny pocket where you can't see city. There's a little mountain there, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's nice. So I take a photo of it, little mountain off in the distance. And the shuttle bus, this takes you 40 minutes to the airport. And then you just come out of Osaka and there's just mountains everywhere, massive ones all around.
Yeah.
Because that's something that I did struggle with. I found it difficult to get out of the cities.
Right.
Yeah, you find a beautiful park very often. You can be, okay, this is a bit of a taste.
Not that often, but
yeah, but it was nice.
Yeah.
But then I just found out that there's all this stuff around. So a lot of things on my list didn't get ticked in Japan. So I'll definitely have to go back.
Do it. Yeah, it's the cities are massive, and they're a little bit overwhelming. I found them in a way
when you come back here to Australia.
Yeah, exactly. I found them a little bit sort of. I loved it, and I found it a little bit soul destroying in that the accommodations I was in weren't necessarily that cheap, but there's still no room. Everything's tiny. I'm sure all your rooms and your toilets and your bathrooms were all crazily miniature to the point that it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Fitting in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I couldn't do any yoga, for example, in Japan at all in my accommodation. When we wanted to go for a run, we would have to walk for 1.5 kilometers to get to a park that you had to pay to go in, and they had one designated running track around the outside.
Was this in Tokyo?
Yeah.
Jeez. Now, Osaka's way more chilled. I reckon you would have been able to do a run past Osaka Castle, around there, in the Botanical Gardens, just fine.
Oh, yeah.
Tokyo's
it's
wild,
just not
man.
I just thought about where I am. I know it's a completely different situation, but my lifestyle's I can just run to work and be unobscured by cars the whole way and people the whole way. Whereas it's unrunnable, running, some part to that is just very, very
of course. That would have been very difficult. The city makes it certain things quite difficult.
But the buzz of the city and the nightlife is just something, that pulse the city has is not something you get in Perth.
No. And it was crazy being over there during New Year's, although at midnight, no fireworks. Not where I was. Potentially in Tokyo there was, but not in Osaka.
But you would have been, I assume you were quite excited to get home?
By the end of it, yeah, I definitely was.
Yeah, for sure.
Spent a lot of time, I don't know, just alone in the freezing cold some days, but it was still amazing.
Mm.
But I was ready to come home.
Yeah. You always are, particularly in the last couple of days. Your mind switches to being at home, and you start.
I think it's the processing of the travel bit. So, because for a lot of people, the traveling's like the pain you endure to do these things. So you just know that's coming.
Yeah. Okay. And how much leave do you have left?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Would you go somewhere else? You probably haven't thought about another trip yet, but would you go somewhere else? Is there anywhere on your mind that you talk to when you're traveling that you just thought, oh, that would be a good one to try next? Or would you consider going back to Japan first, or you just haven't even turned your mind to that at all?
No, I don't think I've had time to turn my mind to that.
I wouldn't have thought so.
Because you get back to Australia and you realize, man, this place is hot, dude. Like
Oh.
I was having 8-degree maximums, 2-degree minimums, and you get away with it just fine, especially in a hotel room. But when you're out in the street, you've just got a jumper on, you've got a jacket on, you've got gloves in your jacket. If you need them, put them on, and you're fine. Whereas here, it's 7 o'clock, the sun's still up, and it's burning.
Yeah, it's been warm.
But didn't you go to New Zealand?
I was in New Zealand, actually. That was a bit cooler just because it's further south. I did a hike outside of Queenstown called the Grand Traverse. 6 days, 5 nights. And when I say hike, I just need to be clear. It's like one of those hikes that you throw a lot of money at. So you're not slumming it. You stay at places like virtually the Hilton, on route. It's not cheap, but there's a guide. You're in a group of about 25. There's a guide at the front and a guide at the back and a guide in the middle that just roams like BT. And over the course of the day, you just spread out. Like the front guide says, yeah, I'm going. So you can't get lost. There's virtually one track. There might be like
so what do they mean
two.
Spread out?
Well, you can't go far past the front guide. They just try and keep you sort of contained by the front and the last guide.
Yeah.
And you don't really, you feel like you're out there by yourself. You just walk. I knew a few people on this walk, so it was nice chatting to them. And it's called the Grand Traverse, but it's really just 2 tracks. It's the Greenstone track and the Root Burn. And the Root Burn is arguably New Zealand's finest walk. It's most well known for the Milford track, but the Root Burn's also, they say it's the world's finest walk in their marketing.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty nice.
Wow, it must be.
Oh, I'll send you a couple
You
of
wouldn't go
pickies.
banding around the finest. Willy-nilly.
No, you would not. Not willy-nilly. You might bandy it about, but not willy-nilly. Not like that. And it was cool. The only thing that went wrong, or 2 things, I guess. Everything went perfectly, and these things were very minor. But when I arrived, my check-in baggage that had my hiking bag and all my hiking gear didn't arrive. And I was...
Oh, great.
Yeah. So it just didn't arrive on that little escalator thing that whirls the luggage around.
Yep.
So I fill out a form, just being
good.
lost my shit. And they're like, we're going to find it and we're going to send it to you. Where are you going to be? I was like, I'm out of phone reception for 6 days and my forwarding address is like on this trail. So I just said, if you find it, just keep it at the airport. I'll pick it up, because I was coming back to the airport. Like I wake up at Rootburn Falls, I hike out, then I take a bus back, and then we get to the hike office an hour and a half before my international flight is supposed to leave.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, so they had a taxi waiting there for us and went straight to the airport. Luckily, I found my bag pretty easily. And
at lost and found. Yep.
Yeah. Then I just picked it up, put it back in, and came back to Perth.
Great. Fuck.
And the best part about it is I didn't have to clean any, wash any of my gear. I just had to pack it away. So it was like 10 minutes just to return all my stuff back to where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But I did have to go to Kmart and spend like $200 on jocks.
There you go. $200.
Yeah, jocks and shirts. 'Cause I
I
only had what was on my back, and luckily I was wearing my hiking shoes.
Oh, yeah. You didn't want to put them in your bags. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I've had those for about 9 years. I've been in Japan a couple of times in the snow, and the soles started coming off during the walk. So I had to cable tie them back together, and they held up. So I threw that. And when I got to the airport, I picked up my bag, and I just threw my shoes in the bin. It was great. Got my thongs out of the bag. And
fantastic. Love that. I actually arrived in Doha Airport about 40 minutes with a connection time of about 40 minutes. So you get on the bus there, and it'll take you to the terminals. The bus took about 40 minutes to get from the plane to the door. So I'm running to get to my connecting flight.
Are they both with the connecting flight? Both. So the two flights
same
were with
airways.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And they go, nah, you didn't make it.
Oh no.
So
I thought they wait for you in that situation. If it's a same airlines.
Well, apparently I might have missed a sign. Something might have happened. You know, when I got off the plane, there might have been a person waiting there for that connecting flight who was just like, hey, you need to come with us because we go straight to the other plane.
Yeah.
But none of that happened, or I didn't see it. So I got stuck there. And at first they were trying to say that, hey, you need to pay for a ticket to Japan now. And I'm like, hey, like, can you not?
Can you just take me?
Yeah. And please? So they said, look, you need to get out of Qatar within 24 hours because you don't have a visa. So
you're like, bro, I want to go. I want to go.
I'm like, yeah, I want to go to Japan. And so he's like, we can send you to Japan, but not to the same airport. We're going to send you to another airport. And I was like, yeah, where's this other one? And he's like, oh, it's just near this one. Like, it's in Tokyo. And I was like, if it's in Tokyo, that's totally fine. Let's go. I'll take it. So he goes, great. So your flight's in like 18 hours, 19 hours. I'd already been there for 5 or 6 hours at the airport. Yeah. So I like look in my bag and I've got about like I don't know, 8 cigarettes or something. And I just thought to myself, look, if I'm going to be here that long, I'm going to need at least 8 cigarettes to make that 16. Yeah. That's what I'm going to need.
Yeah.
So I had to buy a carton of cigarettes, 200. Because they don't sell single packs at the airport. They just sell cartons. But
was it cheap? Was it at least cheap?
So cheap. Cheap.
Did you just give them away or did you try and resell them?
No, I did give some away when I was in Tokyo because
so you just threw them in your bag. So for some reason I thought you couldn't travel with them or something. I don't know what I'm thinking.
Well, you'd have to declare anything over 200 when you get into Japan.
Oh, okay.
So I was under that.
How many did you go through, do you reckon, at the airport?
I don't know. Consumption goes up when you're faced with the prospect of carrying 200 cigarettes on your person.
A commercial quantity of cigarettes.
Yeah. So
you're in the import-export business now.
No, I was just consuming. But it was cheap. But smoking in most like Southeast Asian or countries, the cigarettes are pretty cheap there anyway. But this is just being able to like pick your own brand and go in with those. So that's what I ended up doing. But I spent so much time in the airport that I needed like a shower and stuff. I needed to go somewhere where I could have a shower.
Oh, and what about a nap?
Or a nap. Yeah. So I went up to the customer area and I was just sort of said, hey, any chance of like booking me into the lounge area so I can have a nap and a shower and stuff because I'm stuck here? And he said, let me just look it up. And he says, no, we can't do that. So I said, okay, cool, I'll go do that. So I spent like 100 Australian dollars to go to this place for 6 hours. I was allowed to be there. The buffet's free. The food's free. There's a shower. There's little beds. You can have a nap.
Oh, delightful.
Place to charge
$100 sounds all right, actually.
Well, if you're going to be there for 6 hours, it definitely was. Yeah. And, I met a lot of people there. Because I'd be in the smoking area trying to get rid of 200 cigarettes.
Oh, so you were just like, yeah, come at me.
So I'd be just grabbing a drink and going out to the smoker's terrace. And I did end up chatting to this one guy for quite some time on multiple occasions. And he told me the craziest story back in 2019. So that would have only been about 4 years ago. He was kidnapped in South Africa. Basically, a bunch of guys said, hey, we're going to this party. Do you want to come? And he said yes. And so he got into the van and then they didn't go to a party. They just went back to their house.
Really?
And they said, give me your cards, which are your bank cards. So
Holy
he gave them
shit.
3 of his bank cards, which had a limit on them of 500 we did the conversion, 500 Australian dollars on each one.
Yeah.
So he's saying, hey, you're not going to beat me up or kill me, are you? And they said, no, we're not going to beat you up or kill you. You're all good. We just want the money. And they're like, okay, cool. And he notices a couple of the guys are like smoking weed in the corner. So he says like, hey, can I smoke? And they said, yeah, you can smoke. And then he sees like guns on the wall and he's like, hey, can I shoot the gun? And they're like, yeah, you can come outside and we'll shoot the guns.
Oh my God.
And then he ended up having sex with 2 of the girls who were there and they dropped him, get this, at the airport after. I said, did they take the money? He's like, yeah, they took the money. They took $1,500 off you. I was like, what? And you feel like you won or something, like you came out on top.
Yes, man. He had sex. He had some weed. He shot some guns. That sounds like a good night out.
Yeah. I mean, maybe overpaid a little bit, but yeah, I agree. But he then said, I said, so where did you just come from now? And he's like, I just came back from South Africa. I was like, we're back there? Like, if I had been kidnapped in a foreign country 4 years ago and I had to pick somewhere to go, I'd probably pick somewhere else.
He had a good time, mate. This is how it works. This is how they suck you in. They're probably like they're probably going to start a business about this. They're going to abduct people and take some money, then show them a good time, drop them at the airport, right? It's good for tourism. They're back. I know,
but you would have thought, like, if you were a bunch of dudes who just stole a whole bunch of money off this guy, you wouldn't go to one of the places which would have a lot of CCTV footage of, say, the arrivals area. But it would just be like, cool, we got the car. Great, we know who these guys are then. That's where my brain goes. But
yeah, but if you're nice to your victim in inverted commas, they're less likely to report you. He's just probably like, man, these guys are all right. Like, I had a good time. They're just trying to make a living. That is terrifying, though. That is really terrifying. I've gone with people in a car that I didn't know when I was traveling by myself to parties. Yeah. They go, oh, we're going to this uni party. I don't think twice. You've had some drinks as well. And obviously you're pretty vulnerable like that.
Yeah, get in the van. Got in the van.
But getting in the van, like what, a back of a van, it sounds a bit dodgy. I was just in a regular car.
Yeah, so I was still at that place, at the lounge thing. And I had about 3 hours left that I could be there. Same bloke comes up to me and goes, hey, man, do you smoke? Like, he's talking about weed. And I was like, why? And he said, I found some in my bag. Do you want to, and I was like,
found some in my bag.
I was like, just get rid of it then. And he's like, So I sort of went, all right, it's exit strategy time. I'm leaving the lounge. The place has got way too real for me. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, you don't want some guy that you're sort of somehow now linked to.
Yeah, because we've had that moment where we were both smokers and we've broed down a bit, and I know what he was up to, and he knows about the wedding because we had great chats, and he's a nice enough guy. But yeah, we're not. Because
I don't know what the rules are. It's like some places it's capital punishment. Like Singapore, you can get executed for stuff like that. That's nuts. You don't just find some weed in your bag in Doha. That's like just insanity. But this guy that smoked weed with his captors, the paranoia would be too much for me in that situation.
Yeah, he probably would think, oh, this might calm me down, but no, it wouldn't help at all, would it?
No, I would be like, look, you guys. It depends how comfortable they're making you feeling, but they've already betrayed your trust once.
Yeah, no, wild situation. So that was one of the craziest things I heard in the whole trip, and that was pretty early in the piece. So, yeah, good times. Finally got on my plane, got onto the other one.
Were you worried about it? What happened? Didn't the plane burst into flames in Tokyo or something?
Yeah, so that was at Haneda Airport a couple of days before I departed from Osaka International. Basically, there was a what you would call like the Coast Guard's plane sitting on a runway, and a plane's come in and landed on it, more or less.
What are you doing there? Get it out. Get the Coast Guard out of
there. There's a lot of videos that you can watch where pilots break down the ATC sort of the air traffic control responses and the responses from the aircraft on the ground. So it might be as simple as someone getting the number wrong or not. It's pretty rare and pretty amazing when you think about it, how rare it is. But when I went to the building for my travels, like, 2 days ago that thing happened. I'm looking around and I'm like, well, look at all these people who are totally going to fly safe today,
Yeah. Oh, mate,
But it
how
was
many
funny.
planes take off every minute around the world?
Yeah.
Like 50?
Yeah, but when people say like travel safe, like how much control do you have over that, being that you're not the pilot?
Yeah, no.
And it's very rare that it's going to like need your assistance. And if it does, that's because you're sitting in the emergency seat and it's the first time you've ever had to do anything.
On average, there are about 9,700 planes taking off every hour around the world, which translates to about 162 planes taking off every minute. Yeah.
Odds aren't great.
mean, yeah. So I used to stress a little bit. Like, I think it's natural to stress on a plane. Like the first couple of times you like take off or land, sometimes you have this feeling like, oh, it could all go wrong.
Sure. And there's certain times where you land a bit funny and you just think, hang on, are we sideways? Like, what's going on? Sometimes you look out the side and it looks a bit gaffed together sometimes. Sometimes it just looks like they've taped up a certain bit. And other times you're looking at it and it looks like ancient metal, whatever it is, on the outside. And you're like, hang on, that piece there looks particularly flimsier than the rest. Yeah, it happens all the time.
This might sound controversial, but I don't think flying a plane's that hard.
Not modern day.
I don't have any experience.
No.
But all I'm saying is with a track record like, we did like last year, not last year, maybe it was the year before, there was not one like plane, I don't know what the stat was, a commercial aircraft, not one plane crash of any sort. No, and I was like, then in a whole year, and think there's 162 planes. I know this is including small aircraft and stuff taking off every minute. So all I'm saying is like it must not be that hard because mistakes don't really happen very frequently.
No, not really.
All. Like landing a plane is just like, it's easier than driving a bus. It seems that way.
It's not.
But when I type...
Driving a bus would be pretty tough, though.
I'm an error machine. Humans are just error machines. I'm pumping out spelling errors left, right, and center when I'm typing. Landing a plane, though, every time.
You have to. Otherwise, you're dead.
They've just got to dial
in certain jobs where, if you get a spelling mistake, you die. Like, if that was the case, I doubt you would have any spelling mistakes. No, but they have to go through all those pre-flight checks. They're going making sure everything works properly.
Yeah.
And even if shit goes wrong, like we lose an engine, they still figure out how to land it.
Yeah, there's built-in redundancy. It's like having two balls.
Yeah. And just like the end of Con Air as well. You got the buildings, planes.
What happens at the end of Con Air?
I don't actually remember, but I remember I remember thinking the plane crash looked ridiculous in that it was a massive cargo plane as far as I remember it. Anyway.
Hey, that just reminds me. We have a comment on our YouTube video, and I don't understand. It's the latest one. It just says, there is a film of Netflix about the beginning of the Oxford University Dictionary. Oh, we were talking about the Oxford University Dictionary. This didn't resonate with me at all. When the first time I read it, it said Professor and the Madmen, Mel Gibson and Sean Penn. And I just didn't know how that related
trying to give you homework.
Yes, I see. I thought it was just like a statement of I couldn't link it to what was like, because it was a while ago that we actually did that.
Of course.
It was actually a month ago, 8 December. We released the episode, yeah.
It's going to be similar to a month, yeah.
Yeah. On Christmas Eve, I had to watch a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
And I landed on one that has some serious nostalgia vibes that I was quite happy with, actually. I watched Home Alone 1.
Right.
I didn't realise that John Williams did the soundtrack for that.
Pretty epic.
It's actually pretty good.
Have you heard the latest?
The latest?
Yeah.
No.
He's not retiring, baby.
He's not retiring. What's he doing?
He's unretired. He's
interesting.
Back, baby.
Interesting, because he's got this stat at the moment that he's like the first guy to win a bloody Golden Globe that's been retired or some shit. Like he's won some big award and he'd already retired. So he'd won it like post his career, but not anymore because he's back.
He's back, baby.
What's he doing?
I don't know. Maybe he's just putting his hand up for the next Star Wars thing. I have no idea. But Home Alone 1 is, so we're talking old bloke at the end who gives him the wave, who looks like the guy from Indiana Jones who's protecting the cup.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just looks like him.
I see.
What was the deal? Because I watched Home Alone 2 a lot, the one in New York, with the old lady with the pigeons and the wet bandits come back. But this one's just straight wet bandits, booby trap the house.
Yeah.
Old man gets happy because he hasn't seen his son in a while. What is it?
His son's daughter, so his granddaughter. He doesn't get to see a lot of. He goes to church and watches her sing and stuff, can perform because it's public space. But his relationship with his son sort of fell through a bit. But I Googled, is Home Alone 1 or 2 better? And it just said, whoever's response I read just said, no doubt, 1. And I thought that it's one of those situations where the sequel is inferior to the original.
Yeah, well, it's around the wrong time for that to be the case. But yeah, okay.
Why is that?
Oh, I'm one of those guys that likes Back to the Future 2. I'm one of those guys that likes Bill and Ted 2.
I think there are exceptions to make the rule.
2.
Yeah, but I think if you went through all the sequels, I reckon it's maybe a 10%. Who knows what the percentage is? I'm not going to pull that up, but I know what you're saying. There are some sequels that are very good. And when I also saw John Williams did the soundtrack, he may have done 2 as well. I don't know.
Right.
But that got me. So. That's what really drew me in. I thought, hold on, I actually want to watch this now because I'm gonna see this through a whole new lens that I didn't see when I was a child.
Yeah. And what are we talking? What year are we talking? 91?
I think it's 91. It's either 90 or 91.
So he's just done Return of the Jedi. He's doing Indiana Jones, and Home Alone come up to him and go, hey, we're doing a...
that is a very good point. Why would you do this?
Did he do E.T. as well?
I think so.
Did he do Close Encounters as well? Like, did he do Schindler's List? I think he did. Did he do every single movie that was any good for like 20 years?
I know. It's like he was the only guy. It's like he was the only composer.
Well, there's a couple kicking around at the same sort of time.
It's as if they didn't exist.
Yeah, there was a clear number 1.
The soundtrack is very good, but I was biased because I was kind of listening out for it. But when you're a kid, it's just background noise. But it does create a certain feel and engender a vibe to the scene.
Yeah.
And also, Macaulay Culkin's had a pretty crazy life. I don't know what he's up to lately, but I mean, he was one of those childhood actor. Like, he was the childhood actor, right?
Yeah, but what did he do?
I remember Richie Rich.
That was a really good one.
But apparently he retired after that. That one put him off. Apparently that was too much for him. He grew tired of acting and retired after Richie Rich.
They probably didn't need to do it anymore.
Okay, so Home Alone was 90 and Home Alone 2 was 92.
Interesting.
And he was in My Girl in 91 in between the two. So that was his breakout, Home Alone 1.
Yeah.
My Girl, The Good Son in 93, The Nutcracker.
Page Master. Remember that one? It was like half cartoon, half real life. And he was going inside books and shit. Yeah, that was Macaulay Culkin. All right. And My Girl. Who could forget My Girl?
I've forgotten it.
John Williams, though. Huge library.
It's a big get. Because Macaulay Culkin was, I assume, if his breakout was Home Alone 1, he was relatively unknown.
Yes.
I'm sure he did something, but relatively unknown. It's a big get. They must have thrown a lot of money at him because otherwise, Candy, is it John Candy? Who's the Candy guy? He was
John
in Home
Candy
Alone
was in Home Alone 1 or 2.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd have to pay him, I assume. He was in 1. But also the controversial thing about Macaulay Culkin.
Don't forget about Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci was already quite famous up until
Good point.
He'd done big movies.
And one thing I didn't realize is because the nostalgia factor, I wanted to watch it just to watch something that I haven't seen since I was, 10. The nostalgia factor was heavy.
Oh, it would be.
But I thought the whole movie was about the break-in because that's what excited me. I think I used to fast forward to the break-in scene where he defends himself.
Yeah. You'll
when I
see a
was
bit of the
watching the
traps
movie-
getting set, and then but there's so much more going on.
Yeah, that's like the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I was watching it going, what is all this backstory to the fucking, to the, what is all this stuff? But it obviously makes it. And my wife was asking me about Macaulay Culkin because she was like, I said that he's had an interesting life. And she was saying, so how so? And he defended Michael Jackson, didn't he? In that he said he slept in the same bed, but nothing happened.
Yeah, I guess he's saying I had a close relationship with Michael and he was totally fine.
Yeah.
I never saw anything. He never did anything kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. And although I'm not, who knows, I'm not making any, from what I hear, who the fuck knows? I don't know personally. If it's actually a good strategy if you were into kids, right? You get the most prominent one that is going to have the biggest platform. Don't do anything with them.
So that they can be the voice to tell everyone that they didn't do anything.
So everyone looks to this guy when something goes down and goes, mate, you were mates with him when you were 10 or whatever.
Totally
you hung
fine.
out with him a lot. What happened? And he just goes, I don't know what they're talking about. He was fine. And he can say that. I mean, I know that's too forward thinking I don't think Michael Jackson was thinking that intricately about the future. But I just thought that was I just thought it was interesting that he defended him when there's so many other people that have said the opposite. I mean, that's fascinating.
Mm.
Maybe Macaulay Culkin wasn't his type.
Maybe.
Maybe they're just both stars and he just wanted to hang out with other stars. He was like, mate, you're mate with John Williams. I'd like John Williams to be in
It's a bit
mine.
of the Richie Rich storyline, really, isn't it? It's Michael Jackson's Richie Rich and Macaulay Culkin's one of the kids who wants to hang out at their own private Disneyland.
It is that situation, isn't it?
Michael Jackson, turned his house into a.
Oh my God, the parallels are actually crazy.
Mm.
I haven't seen Richie Rich since I was very young, but now that you're saying it, I remember the
only thing I remember from Richie Rich is them cutting into Mount Rushmore, like something about Mount Rushmore or Mount Richmore, which I think was just the family done in stone, Mount Richmore or whatever something. There was a vault there or some shit, but it probably just contained like happy memories or some shit because that's the real treasure or whatever, whatever the point of the movie is. It's like they get into the vault and it's like, what's in here? And it's like, these are my son's pictures of me that say that I'm a good dad. And that's the real treasure, which they do that a lot in movies.
Yeah. Oh, a kid's movie has to have a moral, a clean, decent moral.
Yeah. So what have you done? 1. So how much near murder did you witness in that attempted robbery scene from Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern?
Oh man, when the bit I liked a lot was is David Stern the other bloke? Is he the other robber?
Is it Daniel?
Daniel, okay, Daniel Stern is his name, is it? Or whatever. Know. The other Robber 2. Joe
Pesci 2, yeah.
Kind of looks like Kramer. I can't remember what his actual name is, but Macaulay puts down.
It's Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci.
Okay. So Culkin puts down in the basement when you're walking up from the basement into the house. Yep. He puts like sticky tar down on the steps, and Robber 2 starts walking up and he has to his foot gets stuck, so it just peels. He just goes, oh well, my shoe's gone now. I'm just gonna let this peel off.
Right. Yep.
He goes on the next step. His left foot's now stuck, so he's just in his socks. He steps on the next step with his sock. Yep. He peels off the sock from that one, exposing his vulnerable underbelly, and then he steps onto a fucking nail, and the way the slow-mo and the way the foot goes onto it. My God, I remember it from when I was young, so I get this
and then he
feeling.
Screams. And then he goes down the stairs, flies down the stairs.
And then he has to try and get back out the slippery steps because he puts water down and makes icy steps on the way into the basement, so then he has to go up the icy steps. And the whole thing's just absolute comedy. It's sort of Three Stooges like.
This isn't the one where Kevin McAllister shoots one of them in the face with an air gun. Like
Yes,
at close range.
Yeah,
it is that one. So someone puts their head through like a doggy door or something, and there's Kevin in like a sniper position, laying down on the floor, and then he probably has a quip, like a Bond style quip, where he says something like, oops, and then shoots him in the face. Does that happen?
Yeah, but I was thinking when he puts his head through, I was like, mate, if you're like sneaking in someone's house, you would have a fucking peek. He sticks his whole fucking head, his whole big bushy head, all the way in, doesn't look at all, and then he slowly looks up to see what's going on around him with no self-awareness.
Kevin goes, hello, blam. Yeah, so that's good.
And then there's always this constant tarantula spider that gets on the loose, roaming around the house.
Great.
And I have a bit of a, not a fear, not a phobia, but like a general dislike for large hairy spiders.
So if I like threw a tarantula on your face right now, you'd get all scared. Is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't lick it. Yeah, I would get pretty scared. I wouldn't be a fan of it.
No.
And so Robert 2 is
terrifying.
Robert 2 gets Macaulay's ankle, right? And he's like, I've got you now kind of thing. They're all like burnt up by irons. Their hands are all like on fire and shit. And he's struggling, and then he sees the little spider, and he picks it up and he puts it on Robert 2's face. And the scream is just classic. Oh, the whole thing was great. Anyway, I quite enjoyed it from it.
What
for
about
a Christmas movie.
Is there a paint bucket that gets launched to like try and potentially kill somebody, like with the knockout blow? I remember paint buckets with ropes.
Yes, they do get slammed. I think Joe Pesci sort of ducks out of the way and it cleans up his mate.
Yeah. No, they're classics.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Look, it was better than, it was the nostalgia factor was
It's not my favourite Christmas movie though.
Lethal Weapon or?
Nah, I'm more of a Scrooged guy with Bill Murray.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you want to tear up at the end, you watch Scrooged.
Scrooged.
Bill
Murray. Okay, anything with Bill Murray is a good time. Okay.
Yeah, Bill Murray, like 88. So it's like Ghostbusters era Bill Murray.
Yeah, perfect.
And he's doing his general bad guy becomes good guy storyline that was very popular at the time.
Okay.
Scrooged. Like Groundhog Day, remember that one with Bill Murray where he goes from being a bad guy to an okay guy? Remember that?
Yeah.
And then in Ghostbusters where he starts out as like a bad guy but then turns into a good guy.
It's a classic. It must be like a trope that feels really good, that just resonates with people's soul.
I think Bill Murray can just be a jerk and then be a good guy really easily. Like there's not much you have to change to turn him into the good guy because people love Bill Murray.
They love him. Hey, I didn't realize. So Scrooged. I'm looking at the title bloody the DVD cover.
Yeah. Okay.
Doesn't look familiar to me.
Wow, you really need to see that then. That'll blow your mind whole.
It's based on A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens.
Yes.
I'm actually gonna send myself.
It's still close enough to Christmas for you to watch a Christmas movie, and in my opinion, greatest Christmas movie out there.
Well, that's some homework for me. But what I might do is set a reminder in my work calendar for early December this year. And just remind myself, because I just don't know if I can like jam on a Christmas movie from the 80s.
It's a comedy, really, but get it done off the backboard, swish. Because like Bill Murray movies are great.
Oh, agreed.
Couldn't miss there for a while. A bit like Jim Carrey, just couldn't miss there for a while.
Yeah, he was on fire.
Yeah.
And Matt McConaughey in the what do they call it? The McConaughey-sence?
Yeah. Because of what, True Detective, you think? You think after True Detective he had a bit of a career renaissance?
Oh, was it? I think there was something before True Detective.
There was something before that he would say, but I don't think I saw.
Because he went from rom-com heartthrob.
Yeah, which he was sick of.
Yeah. Maybe that's what.
I think we've gone through that. But yes, he does have a moment where he says, I've had a gutful. I think Dan talked about it.
Yes. Oh, in the back chat episode.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to think. There's been so much that's happened since you've been gone.
Yeah, has there though?
They found a lost tomato on their ISS.
Oh, thank God!
The tomato was lost for 8 months. They were accusing a astronaut of having eaten it, and he was like, "Mate, I didn't eat it." They finally found it, so he's not a liar anymore.
He's in the clear.
In the clear.
Oh, you don't want to get found guilty of anything in space.
No, because it's jurisdictionally, it's quite hard to know what laws apply. It's actually the laws of the capsule. So there's segments of the International Space Station. Yeah, they get registered to a country, and the country whose registration, who's in which it's registered, those laws apply. So within the ISS, as you're moving around, different laws apply.
Makes sense.
Does it? It does, but
yeah, you got to do it somewhere. Yeah, why not everywhere?
But the GTA 6 trailer, did we talk about that?
That launched, that launched in early December. I don't know if we talked about it, but I was getting pretty excited for any announcement about GTA, knowing that if they do announce it, I know that I have to wait another year or two to actually play it. So I'm glad that it's happening because it means it's happening, so we can start that timer now.
Yes.
But we can't change the fact that it's gone on this long without an update. So, hey, forget about that. That's over now. We have something to look forward to. It's going to come out.
Yeah, it's coming 2025. I mean, I'm
hoping
it's the first half. But if you start
thinking about how many Grand Theft Auto games are left in your lifetime, it starts getting really depressing. So maybe it's GTA 10, right?
Yeah. I mean, what's this one taking? At least 10? Is it 10 years of
That's what I'm talking about. So how many more do you think I've got? 5? 4?
Maybe, like 4. Yeah, if they take 10, 12 years, 15 years.
This is what I'm talking about. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Back in the day, they just made a game every year. So Grand Theft Auto would come out, and the next year Vice City came out, and the next year San Andreas came out, and then they went, shit, we've cooked this. We need more time.
I'm really pumped for it. Apparently, they've spent $2.2 billion on it.
Yeah, it'll be the most heavily invested entertainment product, and it will make the most on day dot.
The video, the trailer, the 79 seconds of madness.
You watched it?
I watched it. Became the most watched video on YouTube, excluding music videos, in less than a day. Yeah.
Yeah. Getting to the...
Is that stat even right? This is what an article told me.
Yeah, when you're looking at how many views the original GTA 5 trailer got, that was to this day was not the same as how much this new video got viewed on day one.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy in itself. That is crazy. Yeah. But this is the most viewed video on the platform, excluding music videos, in less than a day. How do you... That's Kim Kardashian, internet breaking territory, isn't it?
They are internet breakers. That's what they do. They break internets.
It's the most viewed trailer launch ever.
Yeah. It's currently sitting on 165 million.
And it got a set of view record for... Okay, yeah. So it's a viewing record for a non-music video debut. But, I mean, it says, this other stat says it's the most viewed video on the platform, excluding music videos, in less than a day. That is just fucking nuts.
It's they said it's coming out soon as well, and then someone leaked it on Twitter, so they released it early by about 10 hours. Oh, okay. So they put it out there 10 hours earlier, and it still popped just as hard. So
yeah, right. Okay, so it got 123 million views in 24 hours.
Yeah.
So that's okay. All right, that's
it went absolutely wild.
5 million views. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, I'm pumped though. I'm getting excited for it. I got so excited that when I've redone you're not excited?
No.
Well, part of my homework. I'm gonna play GTA 5.
Oh wow, for the single player.
Yeah. Do you think it's a good one to play with someone? Like get her involved?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we got the new setup now. So I got the Xbox 360. I've got it on there. Is there a difference between the PC version and the Xbox 360 version?
Yeah.
Is it graphics?
Are you playing with a wireless controller?
I Actually, this controller plugs in.
Look, if you can play it to your PC and push it out of your PC to your screen, that would be how I would play it personally. But if you're playing on 360, you've got like the original experience, like what it was.
Actually, yeah, I can just play it on the PC and push it out to the screen. You're right. And then just plug the Xbox controller into the computer.
What about speakers?
It comes through the soundbar. Comes through the soundbar, yeah.
Now, that'd be the best way to play it, provided you can actually plug into your computer.
With the controller?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like you got a long enough cable or something?
Yeah, it's about the same.
This is all important stuff for the listeners. They
love
this
stuff.
It
is. Yeah, it is. Well, you haven't been paying attention to cricket, have you?
Not really, but what's been going on? There's games going on in Australia at the moment?
Oh, there are. I don't really follow the Pakistan stuff because, I mean, Test cricket is dying. This is being talked about for a long time now. But I think
Test cricket, right?
I think we've reached a tipping point.
Right.
But what caught that's a side note. What caught my attention, shortest test of all time.
Mm.
And it wasn't between, India and Bangladesh, or I think Bangladesh are pretty good. I'm trying to pick, it wasn't against the Netherlands versus England or anything like that. It was India versus South Africa.
Mm-hmm. Two like cricketing nations.
Yeah, two, first-class cricketing nations. They can bat, right? They can both bat. I knew something was up. I saw a YouTube video. It said it was a highlights package, and it said all 23 wickets from day one.
My God. So what was it, just the pitch?
Yeah, the pitch was out of control. The inconsistent bounce, pace. Yeah.
So everyone just getting bowled out and whatnot.
Yeah, and it was this is also the interesting thing, is in South Africa. It was at Newlands.
Mm-hmm.
And India is the one that gets criticised all the time for doing horrendous pitches. Right. And the Indians were very quick to come out and say, hey, we're getting criticised for curing wickets and whatnot. These are double standards. We don't mind playing on this pitch, but you got to stop whinging about our pitches.
Yeah. So how short are we talking?
It was 642 bowls, 107 overs. So it was halfway through day two.
Mm. The game's over.
The game was over. So this is the shortest test in history in terms of bowls bowled to end in an outright result.
Yeah.
And a South African scored a century on day two in those conditions. Right. So the highest score of anyone in the whole game, the second highest score was 15.
15. So the highest is 100 and something.
And this bloke called Aidan Markram comes out and smashes 106 off 103 balls.
Bloody hell.
Man, I'd be retiring.
I'm surprised as well, like that there wasn't a shorter game where, you just get bowled out for 10 and then they get bowled out for 8 and then they get bowled out for 9.
Well, South Africa got bowled out for 55.
Yep.
I mean,
so he went out there and put 130 up for the other team. And then what?
No. So South Africa come out, they get bowled out for 55.
Yeah.
India come out, they get bowled out for maybe, I think it was like 100 and something.
Mm-hmm.
South Africa come out, this guy blasts a runner bowl century.
Mm.
I think he only set 70 to win or something like that. And then India come out and score 70 off 60 and win it.
Oh.
They just went T20 styles.
We got like 3 days in hand.
Yeah. I mean, that is just nutty. Like that's actually quite exciting. But otherwise, Test cricket is struggling. You may have seen day one you weren't here, but day one of the Optus Test when Pakistan played Australia here. It was a bit laughable. You got this big, ginormous, beautiful stadium, and there's shots of a whole segment of seats with like 3 dudes sitting in it.
Yeah. What was the attendance?
I think it was 15,000 on day one.
Wow.
I think it was something like 25 or 30 for the whole match.
That sucks.
Whereas BBL is popping off.
It would be.
And that's just state-based cricket, right? Everyone, tickets are, that's just the style of the game. Like T20 is taking over. It's just that it's more suited, I guess, to the to TV and betting, families, spending a whole, you actually get an outcome.
Mm.
Even T10s are a thing now.
It's too short, isn't it?
I think so. But there was a dude, actually, you won't know about this either because this was back in early December. A guy smashed in a T10 match, okay? So it's 10 overs aside. Guess what? He got the highest score in a T10 match. Guess what do you think that would be? What do you think in a 10 over match, how much could you possibly make?
60?
Guy made 193
Oh, my God.
off 43 balls.
Yeah, right.
You should watch the highlights of that. And this isn't like T10's actually a pretty established competition in England. I think it's a European thing, but I don't know. It's not like super low quality. I'd say it's up towards BBL standards, maybe not quite there.
Mm.
The guy smashes 193.
Yeah, it's silly, isn't it?
That is strike rate of 449.
That's good. Set records you can't beat,
So from the 10 overs, they scored 257.
Oh, my God. You got to go for it.
Mate, one guy had an economy rate of 36.5.
Yeah, that's too much, isn't it?
How do you give away more than 6 a bowl? He obviously did some no balls. Yeah, with no balls, wides. They get added runs to your, they runs against you without taking a ball off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought they would take the ball off in those, even on a wide.
Because they'll say like how many runs per over. So they'll,
more than 6 a ball, that sounds a bit rough.
Yeah, that is rough. So by the time we come back next week, I think it will be Test cricket will be done.
Wow, that's a solid prediction. We'll see if it's right next week. We will be back this time next week. And it's good to be back, isn't it?
No, fantastic. Good chatting, man.
Good to see you. See you next week.